Have you ever noticed how heavy your own body feels after you have spent the entire day carrying the weight of someone else's problems? You lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, feeling this hollow ache in your chest. It is a very specific kind of exhaustion. You have given your time, your energy, your empathy. You have said yes to every request, absorbed every vent session, and bent your own schedule until it broke. And in the quiet of the night, an uncomfortable thought creeps in. You wonder if anyone would do the same for you. You wonder if they even notice how tired you are. But then, almost immediately, you push that thought away. You tell yourself that being good, being helpful, being the person who never says no, is just who you are. We often call this being nice. We wear it like a badge of honor. But underneath that label, there is a quieter, more painful mechanism at play. It is the trap of the chronic people pleaser, the curse of the person who has mistaken usefulness for worthiness. When you live inside this trap, you are caught in a relentless cycle of overgiving. You become terrified of causing even the slightest disappointment. But here is the strange, almost cruel paradox of this trap. You are completely burned out from helping everyone else. Yet when someone actually turns around and offers to help you, you freeze. You physically cannot accept it. You deflect, you minimize, you instantly say that you have got it handled. You are starving for support, but the moment it is handed to you, you close your mouth and refuse to eat. You are trapped between an intense compulsion to overfunction for others and a deep, invisible wall that prevents you from receiving anything in return. I remember a time when I was buried deeply in this exact contradiction. A friend of mine asked if I could help him move out of his apartment. I had deadlines piling up. I was running on maybe 4 hours of sleep, and my entire body was begging for a quiet weekend. But the word yes fell out of my mouth before I could even process the question. I spent my entire Friday night hauling heavy boxes down 3 flights of stairs, wrapping furniture, sweating through my shirt while he mostly directed traffic. I did not get home until the sun was coming up. I collapsed into bed, deeply depleted. A few hours later, I woke up, grabbed my phone, and tapped through my feed. There, right at the top, was a story he had posted. He was out at a sunny brunch with a group of friends, clinking glasses, looking completely rested and carefree. I just stared at the screen. A hot wave of resentment washed over me. I felt used. I felt discarded. I felt like an unpaid employee rather than a friend. But the hardest part of this story is not what he did. It is what I did just a few days later. I needed to move a heavy wooden desk into my own office. Another friend, someone who genuinely cares about me, saw me struggling and asked to grab the other side of it. I did not even pause to think. I told him I was good, my voice tight as I dragged this massive piece of wood across the floor by myself. I insisted I could manage. I was furious that no one was taking care of me, yet I was actively refusing to let anyone take care of me. Why do we do this? Why do we run ourselves into the ground for others, only to build a fortress around ourselves when we actually need a hand? It is not just about being polite. If we peel back the layers, we find something much heavier operating beneath the surface. The first layer is the behavior itself. It is an exhausting combination of poor boundaries and hyper-independence. It looks like volunteering for tasks you hate, staying quiet when your feelings are hurt, and performing your life as a solitary mission where you are the only one you can rely on. But underneath that behavior is the second layer, which is fear. For the chronic people pleaser, saying no feels dangerous. It triggers an old, primal fear that if you are not accommodating, you will be abandoned. You say yes to moving boxes because deep down, you are terrified that if you say no, the friendship will simply evaporate. On the flip side, refusing help comes from a different angle of the exact same fear. It is the fear of being a burden. It is the fear of emotional debt. If someone helps you, you feel an immediate, suffocating sense of obligation. You feel like you owe them, and owing someone feels incredibly unsafe because they could use that debt against you later. And beneath all of this lies the third, deepest layer. It is the core belief about your own worth. Somewhere along the line, you learn that you are not valuable simply for existing. You learn that you must pay rent for your space in people's lives. You believe your worth is tied directly to your utility. If you are not fixing, helping, listening, or solving, who are you to them? Why would they stay? The cost of carrying this belief is immense. Over time, it breeds a quiet, toxic resentment. You start keeping an invisible scorecard in your head, tallying up all the sacrifices you have made that no one asked you to make, and feeling bitter that no one is returning the favor. You end up surrounded by people, yet feeling profoundly lonely, because nobody actually knows the real you. They only know the version of you that serves them. You can see this pattern hiding in plain sight in the smallest moments of our daily lives. Think about the last time you had to cancel plans or set a tiny boundary. You probably did not just say that you could not make it. You likely sent a massive 3-paragraph text message detailing your exact reasons, apologizing profusely, and offering multiple ways to make it up to them next week. You could not just have a boundary. You had to justify it like a lawyer defending a case, trying to cushion the blow so they would not be mad at you. Or think about what happens when someone does something unexpectedly kind for you, like paying for your coffee. Instead of just absorbing the warmth of the gesture and saying a simple thank you, your brain immediately goes into panic mode. You start calculating exactly how you are going to pay them back tomorrow, or you insist on paying for their lunch later that day to quickly even the score. You cannot tolerate the vulnerability of simply receiving. It feels too exposed. If this is you, if you see yourself in this exhausting dance of overgiving and under-receiving, I need you to pause for a second. Take a deep breath. I want you to hear this clearly. This is not a character flaw. You are not weak for not being able to say no, and you are not broken for being unable to accept help. This pattern is a survival strategy. At some point in your life, perhaps a very long time ago, being perfectly accommodating and entirely self-sufficient was the safest way to navigate your unpredictable world. It was a brilliant adaptation that protected you from rejection. It kept you safe. But you are wearing winter armor in the middle of summer now. The armor that once protected you is now crushing you beneath its weight. It is time to start taking it off, slowly, piece by piece. Taking off that armor does not mean you wake up tomorrow and suddenly become cold, selfish, or completely dependent on others. It starts with very small, quiet shifts in how you operate in your daily relationships. It begins with changing the way you say no. You do not have to be aggressive or cold to set a boundary. The mistake we make is thinking that a boundary is a brick wall. A boundary is actually just a fence with a gate. You can learn to say no using a short sentence, followed by a realistic alternative. It is a way of declining the request without rejecting the person. Next time someone asks for something you cannot give, try saying that you cannot do the whole weekend, but you could come by for an hour on Tuesday. Or tell them you do not have the mental space to help with that project right now, but you can send them some notes later. You offer what is actually true for you, and you stop there. You do not need to over-explain. A short, honest sentence is incredibly powerful. The moment you do this, your brain is going to scream at you. It will flood your system with guilt and tell you that you are a terrible friend. The goal is not to eliminate that guilt. The goal is to tolerate it. Let the guilt sit in the passenger seat. You can feel guilty and still choose not to do the thing. The guilt is just an echo of an old habit, a ghost of a past fear. It will fade the more you realize that the world does not end when you protect your own energy. The hardest shift of all is practicing the quiet art of receiving. You have to actively challenge the belief that you must do everything alone. You do this by accepting tiny, low-stakes offers of help. When a coworker offers to grab you a water from the kitchen, do not reflexively say that you are fine. Swallow the discomfort and just say yes. When a friend offers to carry a bag, let them. Notice the intense urge to immediately repay the debt and gently tell yourself that it is safe to just accept this. You do not have to earn this. By allowing people to help you, you are actually giving them a gift. You are giving them the opportunity to love you in action. When I finally let my friend help me with that desk, it did not feel like a debt. It felt like a connection. It felt like a shared weight instead of a solitary burden. You have spent so much of your life trying to be the easiest person in the room to love. You have folded yourself into tiny, uncomfortable shapes to fit into other people's lives. And you have built walls so high that no one can see how tired your arms are from holding everything together. But the truth is, the people who actually belong in your life do not want you to be a flawless, tireless machine. They want you, the messy, human, exhausted you. You are allowed to say no without apologizing for your existence. You are allowed to let someone else carry the heavy end of the table for a while. You do not have to earn your place in this world by being endlessly useful. Your worth is not measured by how much pain you can endure in silence. You are allowed to take up space, and more importantly, you are allowed to rest.